Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the difference between the Tranx 300 HG at 7.6 to 1 ratio and the new 2025 Abu Garcia 300. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the gear ratio. I use both of these reels for my wide gliders. Um, so like depth 250, Hero Trout, um, Hero Shad. So for those types of baits that I need to have a lot of line to pick up at each turn of the handle. In terms of the inch per turn, on the Tranx 300 HG, you get about 39 inch per the turn of the handle. On the Beast 300 high gearing, I think it's called HS, you get about 35 inch per turn. 4 inch per turn, some of you may think that's important, some of you may not. To me, it doesn't. I barely notice the difference, so that's completely preference. In terms of the weight, the Beast 300 HS, the 7.5 to 1, 11.1 ounce. The old Tranx 300 HG, 11.6. So you shave off about 0.5 ounce there. I paired the 300 with the DRT Artex Cyclone, and when I mount the reel on the rod, it's a little bit tip heavy due to the light weight of the reel. And actually, for moving baits, especially like depths 250s, I prefer it that way. I like it a little bit tip heavy because 99% of the time I'm fishing with the rod tip down, right? Same thing with the Tranx 300 HG. Actually, when I mount that with my 8-foot extra heavy low down customs workshop, this one right here, it's a little bit more balanced in the middle. That's preference. I like to typically have a more of a neutral balance for finesse bait that I have to maybe bounce on the ground, or I have to fish with the rod tip up. I like it a little bit more neutral there, but for most moving baits, I like it a little bit tip heavy. So with that, I do prefer the lighter Beast 300 HG. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the brake. So the brake for the Tranx 300, pretty simple. It's just the plastic mass that goes outward when you're casting, and it stays that way. Typically, actually, not. I never actually touched this brake. It works 99% of the applications. I've had it in this setting since the first time I got it. So I only have the 2 brakes engaged. The other ones are disengaged. So they're disengaged because they're pushed in all the way down, so the mass of the block can't go outward. And so what happens with this centrifugal brake is that when you cast, the brakes get kicked out, and what that does is it increases the moment of inertia of the spool, and that's how it slows down. Now, I do like the brakes of the Tranx 300. Oh, put the side plate back. Yeah. 1 second. I do like the brakes on the Tranx 300 HG. Works on pretty much all applications. I can cast towards the winds, no issue. Bear in mind that when I do use these reels, I do feather it with my thumb. Now, when we look at the braking system of the new Abu Garcia Beast 300, open it up. As you can see, the centrifugal brake, the mass there, they're spring loaded. Now that's really cool. Again, I only have 2 engaged, and you kind of want to do it when you engage these blocks. You do want to do on the opposite side so that the balance of the spool is it's not crooked to one side. So when it spins, it can spin smoothly instead of wobbling. Now, what those springs do is that when you cast, right, the spool accelerates at first. Once the angular acceleration of the spool, when there's no longer an acceleration of the spool, the spring pulls the block back towards the center. And what that does is it basically only the centrifugal brakes only engages at the first half of the cast, and then you have no braking system. Now the rest, because there's no more angular acceleration, the bait theoretically can go further. And I do actually like that part of that braking system that Abu Garcia has. And I have another reel, which is the Big Shooter WM50 by Abu Garcia. I bought again long time ago, and I still have, and that is my backup reel essentially. It has the exact same braking system. Actually has 6 blocks. 3 of them are spring loaded, 3 of them are not. So you can choose whether you have blocks that are engaged the entire cast or blocks that are engaged only in the first half of the cast. I prefer to only use the one that are spring loaded so that I can get maximum distance cast. And then on top of that, it has the magnetic brake. And I typically set that to super low. So here's max over here. I set it to super low. And that's just for fine tuning when you're fishing in the wind, when you're casting right up against the wind. You can crank it up a little bit, and it's nice because it's on the outside. I don't have to open the reel up. So in terms of braking system, I do prefer again the Beast 300. And and now this is an issue that I think Tranx should address. I don't know if they've addressed it in the new iteration of the Tranx, but one time I was fishing and I accidentally, I guess, touched that switch to open, and my side plate fell into the water, and essentially I don't have that set up anymore for the rest of the day. And not only that, they ran out of the Tranx 300 side plate because I guess so many people have done the exact same thing. So that's an issue that needs to be addressed. And I don't know if they've addressed it on the new iteration of Tranx 300. But with Abu Garcia, if I accidentally flip that switch, the side plate is connected. So I don't have to worry about the side plate falling off. So again, in that aspect, I do prefer the 300. The last thing I want to talk about is the drag. Now, I've had this since 2017. It's for one, it is indestructible. I've had thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of use with this reel. Have no issue. I did test the drag of the Tranx 400 to its limit when I fought a 90+ pound tarpon when I was in Belize. And after about 45 minutes of fight, the drag on the Tranx 400, not this one specifically, on the Tranx 400, completely gave out. I had zero drag anymore. I can crank that as hard as I can, and it wasn't holding the spool at all. So for the rest of, I think I fought that tarpon for about an hour and 15 minutes. For the last 30 minutes of the fight, the drag was my thumb on the spool. So that being said, if you're using the Tranx 300 for bass application, I found no issue whatsoever. The Tranx 300, I believe the drag is 18 pounds, the 300 HG. The Beast 300, it's 25 pounds for the 7.5 to 1. So with that, it's your choice. I don't think you ever need drag higher than 18 pounds. So that, that's plenty. But if you need that extra stopping force, go with the Beast 300. So in summary, I think if you look at the spec side by side, they're almost identical. I think with the more advanced braking system, the drag, and the weight, I think the Beast 300 kind of edges out the Tranx 300 by a bit. But both wheels are great. This one has lasted me, you know, 8 years, still working fine. It does have like a little maybe noise, but still smooth. Not really. So yeah, I think yeah. So again, like this one's lasted me 7 years. I just got this one, so I don't have a review on the durability of the Beast 300 yet. But yeah, both are great reels. At the moment, I do prefer the Beast 300.